I remember when we hired one of our past physical facilities plant director, I said, we were looking at that time for a superintendent, and I said, don't worry about it. This place attracts good people. This place attracts, it's a great community, it's a great place, it's a great school with good teachers. It attracts good people. You'll enjoy it. Don't worry about it.
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reiss and Mark Benzer.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Buffalo Community Podcast, episode 213,000?
Yeah, we're in
200, roughly
we're in the mid-hundreds.
Okay.
Mid-hundreds.
A little off. Okay. So, really excited to have a great guest with us, Ken Ogden. Probably a guy who doesn't need much of an introduction. But, Ken, you've been around for a while and ran into you at a local watering hole and said, hey, we need to get you on the podcast. So, here we are. I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. For people who don't know you, give a 30,000-foot view of how you would introduce yourself.
Oh, that's not the first question I expected, but I'm retired. I was on the Chamber of Commerce, President of the Chamber of Commerce. I was on the school board. I was owner of a business for 30 years. I was a football coach. I has been. I used to be.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember him.
Yeah. Hey, you look familiar. Well, I've had the privilege of knowing you in your retirement years. I don't remember anything. I actually didn't know much about it. I've always kind of pieced together. Like, well, that guy's kind of interesting. I got a couple stories of with you as well that I'll sprinkle in throughout our conversation today. So I know Mark and I talked about how are we going to get this conversation started. You said you were an owner of a business, insurance business, right? The exciting world of insurance.
Exciting world. I was the owner of the Insurance Center of Buffalo. I started in 1977. Worked for at that time we were the Oakley National Investors Group, which was a mouthful. So I said, we don't answer the phone saying Oakley National Investors Group. So we called it Insurance Center of Buffalo. I bought it I started working there in 1977. I bought the business in 1989.
Sure.
And I'll tell you a good one. I decided because I was a business school graduate, and I'm smarter than most people. And so
He's mentioned that 3 times today already.
So I decided that I would not have a corporate office because I intended to move. I didn't intend to own a building in town at any time. And so I thought I would use my home address as my corporate office. And so when I started, I was Route 1 Bucks 203. Then we went to Route 1 Bucks 314B. We went to box, the B came after the 314, then B2. So I had to refile my corporate 4 times. And then all of a sudden we got to be civilized, and we're 2730 24th Street, Southeast Buffalo, which means nothing to anybody. But each time it cost me a few bucks to change the corporate office. I thought, this is really bright.
Yeah, maybe I should just get a building. Well, I'm going to plug Outdo Work right now. So if you have those issues, why don't you just go ahead and contact Amanda at Outdo Work, because that satisfies a lot of people. There's mortgage people, insurance people, attorneys, of course, your greatest podcast studio ever, currently in Outdo Work right now. So that would have solved a lot of your problems.
Oh, yeah. This is a surprising facility. When I walked through it, I thought, this is very nice. I've never been here before.
Yeah, well.
Welcome.
Let's jump to your coaching.
Okay.
The Cowboys.
Yeah, we're done with insurance.
Yeah.
I actually coached a team when I lived in Richfield. I think I was still just out of high school into college. That's the first team I ever had. I had my brother on it. It was great fun. I don't know why. My dad was a coach. He actually was a volunteer coach in Park River, North Dakota. and actually he ran a lot of youth teams over the years in Richfield. To make your playbook, to make copies, there was a device that turned on a little light, and it kind of heated up the paper, and it gave you a copy of something. I don't know what it's called anymore, but that's the way he did his playbook. And so I learned from things that were done, and then I really learned when I played at Richfield. We were a big school. We were mythical state champions in 1964. We were actual state champions in baseball in '65. We had a wonderful group of athletes, gone on to university and other places. But I learned something important, I think, then. I learned that if I ever get a chance to coach, I'm not going to do it their way. I'm going to try to enjoy and have the kids enjoy the experience, because they could have.
What a concept!
They didn't care.
Yeah.
Our coach in high school wanted to go on to be a college coach, and he had a lot of offers, but it was a tougher time, and so I thought, no, I'm not doing that. I can't see, sending kids out running all over the place for no particular reason. I couldn't see any reason for doing lots of calisthenics and push-ups and things that had nothing to do with football. We hit, though. We hit quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we repeated things a number of times.
Yeah.
So what we did was simple, but I think it all had to do with football, I hope. If it didn't, I apologize. Mark was one of the more interesting cats that I ever. That team it was a team that was wonderfully talented, and the first thing I see is a helmet that says "Mark from Benzer."
Nerd.
They put their own names on their helmets, but that was a great year. I coached a little guy to start with Cowboys. We had some really good athletes, really amazing teams. That coaching has very little to do with people. It has to do with the players. If you don't, you could be the greatest coach in the world. You could be Newton Rockney, and you're not going to win a game if the Catholics don't show up.
Yeah.
You have to have good players. You have to have athletes, and we seem to have superb athletes. I have kids that I can remember that played in high school that were just wonderful players. Sometimes in the wrong position, but I remember coaching a sophomore team. We had a 6'4", 235-pound tight end. And, of course, right away he went up to the varsity and it became a tackle. I don't know why. It didn't make sense to me. We threw to him all the time. There's a lot of things like that we did. We tried to keep everything fairly simple and just repetitious, and we hit. I'm not sure what I did when I coached could be done today.
Sure.
All this tossed back between your legs and people pulling all over the place.
Razzle dazzle.
Well, yeah, and I can remember my 8th grade year, the year I met you, the year you coached our football team. We sat in a classroom, and to this day, everybody on that football team will remember the speech you gave us about smash mouth football.
That's what we played.
We played smash mouth football, and we had fun, and we won a lot of games. I mean,
Became all-stars.
yeah, we lost once to Elk River,
And
I forget which. There's 2 middle schools in Elk River. One's good and one isn't, and I don't know if that's still the case. There's like Vandenberg and something.
Yeah. And
something else. And those turkeys
we lost
beat
that
us twice.
game because I had a refusal to. It was my fault. We absolutely refused to play. I wanted everybody played. Everybody played all the time. It's just so simple to have everybody play in youth football. I wish people would think about it sometime. But we'd instead of doing this, hold up a board and a bunch of plastic on it and stuff, send the play in. But find a guy that's one of your kids that's about 115 pounds, isn't going to play, but he can sure go run the play in and be a wide receiver, and we'll run the ball up the middle. He's not going to get involved.
Yeah.
So you can have a lot of players play. That game, we we should have won. I'm going to tell you a quick story. This is a fun one. We had a wide receiver who I think is the most talented kid I ever had, named Cole Bryan. And I couldn't cover him in that's I was a pretty good defensive back, so I couldn't cover him. I thought, this guy's something. So we were playing Elk River, and we're going to throw him a post pattern, and he goes the wrong way. And he came in after the play was over. I said, "What, Cole? Where do you went the wrong way?" He says, "I can't catch over that shoulder." So I said, "Cole, we'll never throw another ball over that shoulder again."
Yeah.
So the ball went sailing this way, but he was over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I bet you can't catch over that shoulder when it's designed to go that way
Well,
either.
he was just a tremendous. We had tremendous athletes. Gosh darn, that was a great team. It should have won the state.
Yeah. Is that, well, folks, you've been listening for 3 years now, mentioning the 1999
Class of
group.
99, 98.
But it'd be the
football team.
98 football season. I thought we were going to jump right into that. Was that part of that team, or was
That team. That's my squad.
That's
yeah,
that team.
yeah.
Yeah, we had Upsall at quarterback and Cole Bryan at wide receiver, Justin Schrader running the ball, Brent Swigert, of course.
Yep.
Steve Lee, Ed Schultz, Joe Sabodny.
Joe Sabodny. We had more good wide receivers than we had places to throw it to.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have even started naming names because I'm forgetting names or not. So just tons of great
Tremendous players. As far as athletic goes, Brett Schweigert went on to play in the NFL, and it is right now is the head coach at St. Francis.
Yeah.
Just another good one. We're playing Glencoe Silver Lake, and they're good. Little pee-wee school, but they're going to try to play us. It wasn't on the schedule. It got called in. I thought, what are we doing out here? Grass was about knee-high. There was maybe 4 banks of lights total. And I thought, so I knew the kids were going to think this was going to be a walkover. So I said, you look up there. They're 9-man state champions at least 6 times. So this is a winning tradition here. And we drove the ball. They drove the ball down on us to about the 2-yard line on the first possession. And we had a little quick play. You'll understand it. We had signals between the wide receiver and the quarterback. And their defensive back was 8-9 yards off the ball. And Cole Bryan, he reaches up on top of his head, and Opsel turns around, looks around, and does this thing on his. And I thought, oh my God, we're going to throw a quick out on the 2-yard line on our first play.
Yeah.
And he threw the ball, and by golly, we went. And after that, it was Katie bar the door. We won big. We had to play a simple bootleg. Simple bootleg where, because we did certain things certain ways. If the defensive end was crashing down, we didn't pull a guard to block him. Mm-hmm. We're going to leave him go. You're not going to hit anybody anyway. So spun around, and Jason did it ran off a 28 blast formation, but then he would just simply tuck it down and run. I said, Jason, you got to be quick enough to get around because we're not going to block that guy. By the time he got around that side, there was only himself, Cole Bryan, and Brett Schweigert. We're the only 3 on the field. And, of course, Jason threw the ball to Brett. We picked up maybe 15, 20 yards on it. And I told Jason after, I said, listen, if you're on that side of the field and there's only 3, it's just us, run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they go on and on and on and on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. We got, I just want to make sure we hit all the topics. So, obviously, you coached a long time. You coached the hated Cowboys of the little guy football because they beat up on everybody because they had good talent and a great coach.
Talent.
Coming from a Packer who
Yes.
was on the opposite end of that spectrum.
Lion.
Yeah. But, you've been a huge piece of the puzzle in this community for a long time. And I guess, what is it about getting involved and being involved, school board, Chamber of Commerce, Rotarian, I believe? Like, what drives you to get involved to that level?
I don't really know that answer. I contemplated it on the way here. So I thought to myself, why do it? Why did I do the things that I did? I really have a belief that it takes a certain talent thing. I don't have talent, but getting people together seems to work pretty well. We did well in groups. And if you can do something like that, and you live in a town, I think it's your responsibility to step up to the plate. I used to say, it's my turn to stand in the box. I've always felt that way. I remember when I first moved to Buffalo, the Buffalo JCs came out and filled the sandbox for me. They brought out an old tractor tire and loads of sand and charged me $3-4. And I thought, this is the kind of organization I'd like to belong to. So I was a member of the JCs till I roostered out. In those days, you roostered out at age 35, and so I roostered out.
Roostered out.
You're exhausted rooster. And the distaff side of the JCs were called pooped pullets. And that's what it was. It was meant to be a learning, and it was a great learning organization. It's not what people may have thought it is or was. It was really teaching you about how to lead, how to put together projects, how to put together a packet that came with the project, putting it all together at the end of the year in a form called a Giesenbeer. There's a few out there that might remember, but that was a great organization that taught me a lot of things and led to other things. Sure. The rodeo committee I think it was the biggest event that the town was doing at the time, and the Chamber of Commerce president was automatically the rodeo chairman.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I don't know at one end, I'm pretty sure that hay goes in that end and something else comes out the other, but other than that, I know nothing about large animal practice.
Yeah.
So it's not my skill level, but I'm good at paper, selling tickets and putting up posters and driving all around. So we had, I remember that was a real classic year, because I had $16,000 for the stock contractor and $6,000 for the prize money in my pocket, and we didn't have any money. The rodeo hadn't happened yet. So the first day was a nice day. The second day, that night, it poured. I dreamt that it poured. I woke up in the middle of the night in a sweat because I was dreaming that it was pouring rain.
Ooh.
And those 2 checks I had in my back pocket weren't going to be any good. But fortunately, it came out fine. We did well and had a good rodeo.
That's good. Now, in retirement, you like to swing the sticks a little bit. You like to go golfing.
I love playing golf. Yeah, I do.
We've played together a couple of times, and one of my favorite memories is it was the end of the league. I played poorly that day, very poorly. Not that I played great ever, really, but you said something to me. You go, by about the 8th hole, you go, Tyler, do you like fishing? You should do that. So we finished the hole. This was on 8 at Heights. And you go, I'll tell you what my golf coach told me. He goes, when you get done with this, take 2 weeks off and quit.
That's it.
Which, it's really fun. And, just when you get a group of guys together and then your energy, just the camaraderie and then the BS and banter that goes back and forth. I mean, I think that's why people get together. That's what they enjoy about others. And obviously I never took it personally, even though I never forgot it either. But it was really fun. I thought, oh man, Ken's good people. I knew you before, but
we went. I've played in that league, in Buffalo Heights Men's League, for 40 years. I can't remember the numbers anymore. And it used to be played. Buffalo Heights had just a farmhouse. It didn't have the clubhouse that we built. That was built in '77, so it's been a long. I think it was '77, '97. Anyway, it's been a long time. Mm-hmm. And I've played in the league with the same people. And we used to, when we were all fresh young bucks, we would go into the house, and they had a little deck off to the side, and that's where you had dinner and had a bunch of drinks. And so we were sitting there, and with myself and Dick Norman and Wayne Hine, we're young guys, and we're looking over, and there's Kenny Ernesti and couple of other guys sitting at one of the Holmquist boys, Russ Esau grocery store, And they're having, their whiskeys and stuff, and we're looking at it going, oh, look at those old dudes over there. Now we go up after the match is over and go upstairs, have a few bumps, and I can look around the room thinking, I wonder if those kids over there looking at us and looking at those old buggers over there.
Yeah.
Oh, we do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Ken's cattails. Those are your cattails?
No, that's not mine.
Oh, man.
That's the greatest story that was never told.
Well, let's tell it.
One of the other golfers on the league is Ken Boardman. He's another Ken. He's left-handed. So if you stand on that tee box, the cattails are behind you. He had 4 consecutive balls into the cattails off the tee. Let's see, so that's hitting 3, 5, 7, 9. He lost the hole.
I give it.
I think it's physically impossible to do that. You can't possibly heal 4 straight drives off of the tee.
That's tough. It's talent.
But he did it.
Okay. Well, I always thought it was you. I always think of you when I tee off there.
No. The only place that I have fame is on the 8th hole. There's a swamp area that was named Ogden's Ocean at one time. It's never dry.
That's great. So I said I was going to tell a couple of stories. There's another one. I was getting a haircut, and Ken walks in. I thought, well, that's an odd place for Ken. He doesn't have any hair up here. Anyway, hey, Ken, how you doing? And I walk back out to my truck, or which I thought was my truck, and I get in, and I'm like, I didn't have coffee. I've got leather seats. These are cloth seats. I'm not in my truck. We have the exact same truck, except obviously the interior parts. And I get out, and you're there. Like, what? I said, I'm sorry. My truck's right next to yours. So, but I unlocked it, door unlocked, and I don't know if you remember that, but I
don't lock my doors.
Yeah, I didn't drink your coffee though. So, but that was a fun one. I was just like, well, you shouldn't say it. We're not going to say what kind of truck you have if you don't lock your doors.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I just can't. If somebody else wants it worse than me, they can have it.
Sure.
I don't really care. It's got insurance.
Yeah. The insurance guy right there. It's insured.
The worst thing that can happen to you, and this is from a practical standpoint, is somebody wants to get into your vehicle, so he smashes a window.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a smashed window if they want to just open the door and find out there's not. I had a theft at home, and they took about a Garmin that was absolutely broken, hadn't worked for years. I mean, what possible? These people are just out. They need something. They'll go into your truck, and if I don't want to break a window,
that's a good point.
Smash my keys or locks and stuff. So
I always call it like the Minnesota security system is the little piece of wood on your sliding glass door.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody thinks that's someone wants to get in there. They're getting in there, and that's not doing much.
Yeah.
So if your lock works, that's totally fine. But if they want to get in, they're getting in. So it's not as secure.
Yep.
So, is there anything that you want to talk about that we didn't touch?
Oh, I thought of that. Sure. My time on the school board was a wonderful time. I cannot tell you that's a bad. Here's the problem with any type of job like that. It goes back to the rodeo in the rain. You have a lot of responsibility and you have absolutely no authority. That's a bad combination. Yeah. I think before a person, I'm just going to recommend to anybody out there that before they volunteer for something, that's probably the first thing to consider is, do I have any authority whatsoever? Or am I just a figurehead sitting here who's going to take the blame when the thing goes to pot? There was nothing we could do about the pandemic except follow the state guidelines. There was nothing we could do about we don't teach CRT. It was a good experience. The teachers there, I think that when we hired I remember when we hired one of our past physical facilities plant director, I said, we were looking at that time for a superintendent, and I said, don't worry about it. This place attracts good people. This place attracts, it's a great community, it's a great place, it's a great school with good teachers. It attracts good people. You'll enjoy it. Don't worry about it. And we got a really great superintendent out of it, Scott Thielman. I think Dr. Thielman is a superb superintendent. I told him he's the best that I've ever been around, and that goes back to Darryl Miller. So I've found the teachers to be wonderful, the paras to be wonderful. My wife still volunteers at Northwinds. I don't think they'd have me. I'm not good with second graders. But if you ever have a feeling like your day is long and things are hard and tough and the world is going to get you down, go into an elementary school. It's the happiest place. That's the hardest thing for me to get used to being around schools. Was insurance business is a competitive business. It's not good. The real estate business is a dog-eat-dog business. Smile on the outside, but it's a dog-eat-dog business, and this isn't. This is really just helpful and pleasant, happy kids. My wife one day wasn't able to go to the help out, so I volunteered. I went, and I sat with those kids and did some math programs for 5 of them on the outside. And gosh, they would listen into the class and they'd say, "Oh, they're singing this song," or they're doing this, and they just love being there. They love the teacher, and it's just an enervating place. I wish everybody could see what an elementary school looks like. High schools are a little different, but and junior highs are even a lot more different. But I'm
going to share the blissful naivete of children, of not knowing exactly what the world is, which is a good thing, I think. And he's telling a story. He goes, "Oh yeah, I shovel my neighbor's driveway. They're really old, but they're super rich. They live on Social Security. But I never, and he's just belting this out. But I don't ever take any money from them. But they're super rich. But they got really smart. They just put it in our mailbox. But but they're super rich. They live on Social Security." And I just thought,
who is this?
Well, I'm not telling you on the podcast. I'll tell you off the podcast.
Gotcha. I thought you missed an important part of the story.
No. It was a student I coached, and I just thought, that's awesome. Keep shoveling those driveways. And now I kind of wonder how old these people are, in his mind, when you're thinking, those old guys, look at those old guys, am I old to you? So, but it's real fun. Mm-hmm. So
I quit coaching when I found that I could not do what I used to do. I found myself one day, to throw a pass in practice, I found myself backing out instead of taking the proper drop. I said, "Whoa, that's it. If I'm going to get to be this lazy, if I'm going to teach these kids to do everything exactly the same way every single time without any deviation," which is what we did. We gave away nothing. I thought, no, I'm done. Besides that, I lost my arm anyway, so tore rotator cuff.
Yeah. Well, get back at it.
Oh, I can't anymore. I can't physically do it.
Yeah.
If you can't show them how to do it properly,
exactly
the way it has to be exact. And wrestling. Are you going to go out there and show somebody, maybe throw a half in and get it about a third of the way there and quit? I mean,
I work with the big kids now.
Yeah.
I used to be a little kid. I work with the big kids now.
Yeah.
So.
But you watch, for example, I've seen St. Michael in their practices. Why, they practice better than I could ever have thought about wrestling.
Yeah.
And just smooth people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Very much so. Very much so.
I guess a couple things. One thing I wanted to talk about today, and hopefully I've told you this before, but the reason I do what I do today is because of a meeting I had with you about 12 years ago when I got in touch with you and said, "Hey, I'm kind of looking at finding a new career and I'm thinking about insurance," and you didn't talk me out of it. And so I did, and I love what I do, and I've kind of found a home, found a career in the insurance business, and that's largely because of you. So I wanted to thank you for that. And you talk about Buffalo being such a great community, and it attracts great people, and big reason for that is because of people like you. And we got a whole town and a whole community full of great characters, and people like you make this a great place. So that's all. I just wanted to thank you for all of that, and
Thank you.
coaching and being such a big part of why Buffalo's the greatest small town in the USA.
Yep.
I think so.
And I break into cars because of you.
Yeah.
For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reiss.
I'm Mark Benzer,
I'm Ken Ogden.
and we're out.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlund Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.